Hey guys, I want to tell you about my new Ironman account, Lum2 Salve. It is an area restricted Ironman account that stays between the confines of the River Lum and the River Salve. I started this project on February 11th, 2019, and it's a pretty simple concept. You stay between the River Lum, you stay between the River Salve. I tried to keep it um, as pure as possible and not allow that many exceptions on the account. A lot of the content is in the desert. I'm going to allow unlocking of Sophanim and the parts of the wilderness that are east of River Lum are also allowed. Parts of Edgeville Dungeon are allowed. Everything that's to the east of the River Lum. Dorgish Khan is also allowed because I mapped it out and it was technically um, pretty far to the right of the River Lum, the whole city. As far as Misthalin goes, I'm allowed to go most of Misthalin, with the major exceptions of Barbarian Village and Edgeville, which are to the west of the River Lum. Here you can see the map that I mapped out, showing how far the city is from the River Lum. It might even be a little bit further to the east than that when I properly zoomed it. It's worth noting that I am allowed to use the Abyss Mage. I am allowed an exception for the Abyss, which is technically at like pretty much on the River Lum, north of the River Lum. Sometimes the mage is to the east of the River Lum, sometimes to the west of the River Lum. So there's going to be a lot of runecrafting content on this account. As far as the wilderness goes, you can see this map demonstrating where the River Lum is and the River Salve is. The River Lum actually is hidden inside the wilderness. There is a canoe stop in wilderness in the 40s near the Black Chinchappas, and I drew a line that I think it is. So content, you have the Chaos Altar, Lava Dragons, the Boneyard, the Resource Area, which has Runite Rocks, Scorpion Pit, and the boss associated, the Deserted Keep, Rogue's Castle, Demonic Ruins, Callisto. Lots of bosses in the wilderness for me to kill. Lots of content there. It's worth noting that I do cut off the Volcanic Forge and Fountain of Ruin in the northeastern corner. Exceptions to the account. I try to keep this as pure as possible, like I said. I do allow Druidic Ritual. There is no way to get Herblore Experience without Druidic Ritual. I allow Prince Ally Rescue, which requires me to go to Draenor, because without it, I can't complete Contact, which means I can't which I can't unlock the Sophanim Bank. I'm allowing Abyss Rune Crafting, so I allow Rune Mystery so I can get the Essence, and then that's a prerequisite for the Abyss mini quest. For Dorgish Khan, I allow Goblin Diplomacy, so I get to go to the Goblin Village. I get to go to Lumbridge for the Lost Tribe, and of course, I got to go to Lumbridge for Death of the Dorgish Khan. One-offs, there might be more added at a later date, but this is what I found so far. Sap, there's no trees in my area that can produce sap for Ichlorin's Little Helper. Skill cape purchases if I ever get a 99. Killing ham guards for 2 ham sets, which is required for Deaths of the Dorgish Khan. And I'm going to make a trip to Falador for 2 woad leaves. As far as Slayer goes, it's unlocked at 51 agility when I can go to the Edgeville dungeon via the Moss Giant Pipe. I can only use Vinaka, and I must do tasks inside the area, unless I can't do it inside the area, in which I'm allowed to do the task, but I can't pick up drops. I'm also allowed to skip with Turiel if I don't think that I can complete the task at all. So here's some early footage on the account right after account creation. Just killing some cows, getting some early crafting levels. The journey begins. So one of the major difficulties on this account is obtaining food. That's what I found. It's always going to be difficult to obtain food. And I put together kind of a long Word document that I've just been jotting down notes on for the account. I think it's worth noting that I did debate various exceptions to the rules, and I decided against these exceptions. Here are the exceptions that I decided against. I will not be leaving the area for diaries. Yes, some accounts do this. They allow you to go out of the area, but I found that the Varrock and Desert Diaries and Wilderness Diaries would require significant time outside of my zone, significant quests and significant rewards, such as for the Hard Desert Diary, I would need to unlock a Slayer Helm, so that means I gotta kill cave horrors. It's just too difficult and too much time out of the area. So I decided if I can't complete it without leaving the area, then I can't complete that diary. So I might be able to complete maybe some easy or medium diaries, but not all of them. A fly fishing rod. So originally when I created this account, I thought that I was going to be able to do barbarian fishing inside Lumbridge and just kind of either cook or drop the trout and salmon. That turns out that is not the case. There are no fly fishing rods in my area at all. So I'm basically limited to shrimp and anchovies because I can't obtain any fishing rod at all. All I can obtain are small fishing nets. Another difficult thing inside the account is obtain vials. Early on in the account, I do not have I will have access to Herbler, but I do not have access to Molten Glass. I don't have access to an Herblore shop, so that gives me no access to certain secondaries like Eyes of Newt. I'm not going to be able to pick up a pestle and mortar because the only way for me to get it is from Taverley. But there is an NPC in Narda that can grind secondaries for me, so that's not a significant content unlock. The Black Demon, I'm not going to be able to kill Black Demons. They're technically to the west of River Lum. You could see because they're directly south of the Air Obelisk, which is pretty far to the west of the River Lum. I'm also not going to be allowed to go to Fossil Island. It's pretty clear it's over the river south. I did consider starting the Dragon Slayer quest, but it's not that important. The only important thing from it is the Rune Plate Body and the Anti-Dragonfire Shield. But I don't actually need an Anti-Dragonfire Shield to kill green dragons. The only green dragons and lava dragons, the only dragons that are within my area. So yeah, I just need to get Protect Mage. So I decided I'm not going to do that quest or start it because it would require me to go over the River Lum. And yeah, there's some tasks that I'm not sure if they're going to be included on the account or not, like being able to do Desert Treasure, for example, which would unlock Fire Giants, Pyre Fiends, and Dust Devils in the Smoke Dungeon. I'm not sure about that at this juncture. So, but honestly, there's quite a lot of gear at the end of it here. You can see the best gear that I think that I could possibly obtain on the screen. I mean, the only real thing that's lacking here are maybe the gloves and boots, but and the shield. But it's pretty good setup, I guess. This is hard. The end game, there's lots of bosses that I can kill. At 85 Slayer, I actually can access Abyssal Demons via the Abyssal Sire. I can't access regular Abyssal Demons, so I can only kill the boss variant. I can kill the Calphite Queen, the Chaos Elemental, all the Wilderness bosses. I can do Elder Chaos Druids, the Hill Giant boss, the Moss Giant boss, and what's going to be really interesting later on in the account, I think, are the Scaberites, which the Locust Riders and Scarab Mages in the tunnels under Sophanum. So because I can't fish, um, those guys have really good drop tables. They drop noted raw fish, which is fantastic for late game. But there's a lot of requirements before I can do that, guys. Some long-term goals for the account. I want to get 85 Slayer to kill the Abyssal Sire. I'm going to need 93 Hunter for an Amulet of Glory. I think that's more obtainable than the craft and levels required to craft it, and getting a Dragonstone would be difficult. 87 Magic for efficient Mage Training Arena. 99 range for Ava's accumulator effect, which is quite important for the account. I don't have access to Ava's. I don't want to pick up arrows, but the 99 range cape does that. 99 fire making gives me my only unextinguishable light source, which is vital for Scabrite training. And 70 agility for the Dorgish Concourse is pretty necessary. And 74 crafting for a combat bracelet, which is my best inside glove. Early game goals. I'd like to get 51 agility, so I can unlock the Slayer skill. Once I get into the Edgewell dungeon, I won't have to go through the Varrock sewers anymore. I'd like to get 25 magic for teleport to Varrock to make things easier. 20 construction so I can move my house to Polonivich. 1300 hunter to unlock desert devils and be able to take the long grind for hunter. I'd like to get 24 crafting for an amulet of magic, 32 quest points to get my best in slot weapon for now from the Champions Guild and be able to obtain Champions Challenge scrolls. And 43 construction is also very important so that I can begin the grind for Dorgish Khan.